Hello, who's ready for another Lunch and Learn? Now, Justin, me and you kind of bounce back every week saying this. Is this number 6?
Number 6.
Sixth week. Every Tuesday at noon my time, which is Mountain Standard, so 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we host what's called the Lunch and Learn, and I'm excited to be with you guys today. These gentlemen are rock stars. I'm excited to be with them, and they're excited to be with you guys today, but we're going to break down how automation, we've been talking about this last 5 weeks. We've been talking about how automations and systems, how that allows your business to grow. And we're going to bring on Mr. Brian Hammerly, one of my favorite tribe members, and how automation, how systems are helping him with his business, and how he just did his biggest month ever. So we're going to be talking about all this. So stick with us during this Lunch and Learn. But Justin, how the heck are you? Let's start with you first.
Awesome, man. Doing great.
Are you going to deliver some value to the tribe?
What's that?
Are you going to deliver value to the tribe today?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Brian Hammerly, how the heck are you, brother?
Man, I'm doing awesome, man. It's an honor to be on here with you two rock stars. Thanks for having me.
We're excited to have you. And I shouldn't even speak for Justin. I'm sure he'll say the same thing, but I'm excited to have you on here. I'm excited I get to see you here in a few weeks. We're going to be out in Lake Powell on the old houseboat, doing some scaling and doing some learning and all that fun stuff, surround ourselves with some incredible people. But let's break this down. So Brian, tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been wholesaling, maybe how long you did it part-time before you went full-time. And let's talk about that journey to start helping people that are maybe at the beginning stages, or maybe people that are at the point where they're like, do I not jump into full-time?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks, Cody. My name is Brian Hammerly. I actually live in Louisville, Kentucky. I joined the tribe, I think it was June of 18. So I was doing it very part-time for the last 2 years. But on June 12th, that was my last day at my sales job that I was there for 10 plus years. And I said, let's go. I mean, who quits their job during, a pandemic and, all the craziness that's going on in the world, right? So but I've been preparing for that for the last 2 years. And in my first full month of July was, I'm not going to share numbers, but it was really, really solid. And we're off to a really good start.
Awesome. So doing really well. You've had your biggest month ever. We'll get more to that here in a second and what's helping you, what you feel like is giving you traction and giving you some momentum. Justin, for those that may be watching for the first time, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little background about you, and what is it you got going on?
All right. I'm out in the Boston market.
I love how both of you have your unique ways. Never say Louisville to Brian Hammerly. That's like a cardinal sin. It's Louisville, right? You gotta say like Louisville.
Yeah, you gotta have a little draw.
Louisville does this, and then you don't say Boston. You say Baston.
Do I? Do I say Boston?
Oh, you totally do, Brian.
Really? Oh man.
Yeah, he does.
I try to get rid of the accent, but I guess it's there still.
So it's not Boston for everyone that thinks it's Boston. It's Baston.
Yeah, Boston. I've been an investor since 2010, doing renovations, new construction, and now more recently, in the last couple of years, condo conversions in the city of Boston, also doing a lot of wholesale deals. 5 years ago, 5 years ago, I started Open Letter Marketing, which is a direct-to-seller marketing company for real estate investors around the country. And the goal with that company was to set out to provide the most effective marketing and strategies to real estate investors, with me kind of being the guinea pig in my own business and making sure that it works before we're providing other customers with our products and services. So
love it.
That's a little bit about me.
And over the last 5 weeks, guys, we've broken down some of the systems that he's talking about. What's up there is openlettermarketing.com. If you want to learn a little bit more about what some of the automations and stuff that his company has developed, designed, that we've talked about for the last 5 weeks, that's a direct link to it. Openlettermarketing.com/ref. The cool thing about that is all of the pricing that I get for my business, we pass it on to you guys as well. Yes. You use that portal, so do not go through his website, even though you go through that portal and get a discount.
That is true. That is true.
So let's open up to what we're going to learn about today. In general, automation and processes, systems, softwares. What are some of the cool things out there that are helping all of our businesses win, and see how it can apply to your business? Maybe you're at a point where you're a solopreneur and you're doing like wearing all the hats, and in wearing all the hats, you're really scrambling for time. It's like, gosh, I have to deal with sending out direct mail. I have to deal with buying my next list. I have to deal with uploading my next list. I have to deal with scrubbing my list. I have to deal, and you start to think about, yes, things that are maybe important, but not necessarily important that you have to do. And we're going to talk about how there's some software, there's automation, there's processes that you can put in place that would manage that for you, so that you simply get more time to do what is really important for each one of us to do, and that's get our faces in front of motivated sellers. So let's talk about some of those things. Justin, maybe before we break into like what Brian's doing and what he's been using over the last couple months, maybe let's do a share screen and show them some of the softwares and processes that you put together that I now implement in my business, that Brian's put forth in his business, and I will share this screen. So here it goes. Look at that. It kicks us to the side and everything. I see, this is another software. Can you imagine if I had to design this little thing called StreamYard? This is phenomenal. Okay, and by the way, guys, we'll be taking questions live. So if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate. We're here for you guys. We want to make sure that we add some value. You're spending quality time during your lunch or during your, when you could be face-to-face with motivated sellers or at your full-time job. So let us know how we can serve you today. So we'll take questions live. So let's go for it. Show us a little bit about this portal and what systems, what automations in place that helps businesses get more time back.
Yeah. So again, not everybody is a marketing expert, and the goal is to get them to become a marketing expert while reducing their time and energy in doing the very mundane tasks that are important, but just not revenue driving. So we've created this portal specifically for Cody's Tribe, where you can access all of your direct mail, all the software that we're going to be talking about, any skip tracing. But let me just go a little bit into kind of the systems that we've created. So the software that's up here, I'm going to just show you how and why I've developed the flow the way that it is. So we have 3 different systems. And the way that I look at a real estate investor and their sales and marketing system or workflow is that anytime you do direct to seller marketing, you have to start by creating a list. What are the leads and who are the people that you actually want to target and go after? And not only just kind of building a list, but learning about your list. How do you know what are the best leads versus low quality leads? Not many people understand that. And if they don't, they're going to be at a disadvantage when they do start to market, because they're not going to know what to spend their time and focus on if they have no idea who's a better lead than other people. So what people tend to do is just spin their wheels and spend the same money on every lead evenly across, when they should be really targeting their marketing spend to their real high quality leads. So going through list building, through marketing strategy, and executing marketing, that's the first part of the cycle, and that's done in OLM Investor Hub. That's the software that we specifically created for that that whole process, and that's an extremely important process with a lot of kind of automation and features that kind of are in itself.
Yeah.
Then once you start to send out your marketing and you get calls back from your prospects, your sellers, now they are starting to, you have contact with a prospect. Now they start to flow into OLM Deal Flow. And OLM Deal Flow, most people will recognize it by calling it a CRM system, your traditional CRM. So that captures everyone. Once they call in, the CRM system logs them as a new seller lead. So you can track that seller lead from first point of contact all the way through closing. And that includes creating follow-up, because as we know, as real estate investors, more than 50% of our deals are going to come through follow-up. That's just the fact.
Hold right there. We've got a rock star rhino in here. one of the head chiefs right there throwing out his first. Bam!
Wow.
Tom,
Love it.
good to have you on here, brother. Thanks for hopping on. And he's telling all rhinos, check this out.
Nice.
Tom, thank you, brother, for being on.
Tom? So follow-up is absolutely critical, and that's where OLM deal flow really shines. It's essentially make sure that no lead is left behind, because think about it. You just spent all that money marketing to them to try to get them to call. And so many people, once they call in, they forget about the lead. They disappear. They say, no, call me in a couple of weeks. They never follow up with them. If you have a system that will make sure and automate that for you, just think about it. If 50% of your deals come through follow-up, you could potentially close 50% more deals if you get better at that follow-up system.
By the way, 75% of my deals come from follow-up.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. So that's how the two systems mesh together. One is prior to a contact with the seller, and the other one is after the contact with the seller. But they both integrate together. So if somebody calls you and you're now talking to them on the phone, it will remove them from OLM Investor Hub so you don't continue to market to them, thereby saving you money and keeping all the systems up to date with all the information. So that's critical. And then the last one is the OLM returned mail system. So if you use open letter marketing for your returned mail, all that stubborn.
Wait, Brian, before he gets into this, do you use this?
Love it.
So guys, everyone gets returned mail. I don't know why this excites me so much. I don't know if it's the sound of, because it sounds like I'm checking out at a grocery store, or I don't know if it's the fact that it's like so simple. A caveman can do it. I did not rip that off from Geico. It is so simple, the process, but it's so cool. So if you use OLM, open letter marketing, for your mail house, for sending out your mail, then from there, any return mail that comes back, which Brian just held up that fat stack. Hold that up again, Brian.
I just picked these up today. I'm guessing they're 50 plus.
So you get those, and then what do you do? Let's show them real quick. Instead of manually looking at the postcard and being like, let's go find Jim Smith and let's remove him from the list.
Yep.
What do you have to do so that it's much more of a process that gives you more time back?
So you take your returned mail piece, the little barcode, it already scanned with that far away. So you just hold it up and it scans the barcode, and you saw that it just scanned down here. So now what people can do is they can either download it as an Excel file, or they can push it right into OLM Investor Hub, and it will automatically flag that lead in the system as undeliverable. So then they can skip trace that person for a new mailing address.
Yeah.
So, and not only that, when it identifies the person as undeliverable, it's going to remove them automatically from future marketing activities. So you don't continue to send the mail and get it bounced back.
So there's a key thing to this, guys, that I want you to learn. So one of the biggest parts of profitability that many of us focus on is revenue in. That's one of the easiest things to see. And it's like, I just need to bring more revenue in. But the other side of that coin of profitability is cutting expenses, making your expenses go down. Because the more you can bring in revenue and the more you can cut expenses, your profitability gets bigger, right? So this allows you to instantly take them off the list instead of what probably 99% of the investors do. They are just like, oh, mail came back. And then in 6 weeks from now, that same mail piece goes out and then it comes back. And we're just wasting all this money. So you can save quite a bit of money by doing this. And I don't think it's because people, by the way, Justin and Brian, I don't think it's, maybe Brian, I'd love your feedback on this. I don't think it's because people are like, oh, I don't care, it's just 36 cents. It's just because if you don't have this easy process in place, it's such a pain in the butt to do. I mean, Brian, I don't know what you were doing before this return mail service. Nothing, right? You just send it out 6 weeks later and you waste money.
Yeah, so I don't have that system Justin just showed yet. So what I do, it is a manual process, but it's much better than looking into an Excel spreadsheet. So all I do now is I go into my leads. So when I get a return postcard, I've been manually going into leads, and then actually Investor Hub. I go to remove leads and I go to undeliverable. if it came back undeliverable. So then what I do is I take all of my, and I just did this past weekend. I think I had like 129 undeliverables. And then you do what's called update mailing address, which is huge, right? Because think about it, majority of people just throw away their mail that are investors. Well, now I'm getting an updated mailing address, and it gets automatically added into my previous batches, I believe, right, Justin?
That's right. Yep.
So now I'm hoping that they get a postcard from me that's with the updated mailing address. And yep. I'm hoping that majority of the people that are sending out mail aren't doing that, right? And that gives me a competitive advantage.
Right.
It didn't really take me that much, much time to update those and get those sent back into those batches.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Justin, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no. So and the return mail system, like I said, it flows back into Investor Hub because the goal really is to have an automated system that you don't have to think about those things that you don't need to think about because you want them just to be automated. And having all these systems work together to a cohesive system really makes it so much easier to do the things that you're going to make sure that you update all your information. You're not spending money inefficiently, just like you said. And we're reorganizing kind of my marketing company and shifting people around. And just today, we spent 3.5 hours talking to each person about just what you just said. It's not just important to increase revenue, but it's important to reduce expense. So now everybody has to, have a really good understanding. $1 of expense reduced adds this to the bottom line. And that's the same thing with this system. It will take you less time to actually be more efficient with this system than you otherwise would have been if you didn't have the system and still try to do all the manual things.
So not even just more profitable,
right?
You're also gaining more time, like spending less time to do a process that you may or may not already be doing. But if you haven't been doing it, you're not adding much time to it, but the profitability outweighs the time that you're going to put into it if you haven't done anything at all. But for those that are like manually, like Brian, taking them out, holy smokes, like this now gives you time back and profitability.
Yeah, it's funny. I think of revenue a little bit like response rate versus deal rate, right? People are like, oh, I got a 10% response rate or whatever it is.
Yep.
But what's their actual deal rate? I think I look at that kind of like a business, like people will talk about revenue. Like I did this much revenue. Great. How much did you bring home? What's the profit, right? Because if their revenue is really high, but their expenses are just as high, just means that they are running a very expensive company. Right. They can reduce their expenses and now have a lot more on the profit. That's an extremely profitable business that's running really well.
Brian, what has helped you because I've seen you from day one to where you're at today. What are some of the things that have allowed you to succeed at the level you are to where you're go from knowing nothing, doing your first deal to now average, how many deals a month do you do?
Let's see, in July we did 4 and we're
my camera went off. Hold on. Somewhere in here. Hold on. Keep going. Keep talking while I figure this out.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. For me, like it's just consistency, right? So when I worked this part-time, I would send out mail, but I wasn't very consistent with it. Now that I have this system, I'm tracking. I basically send out mail every week now, right? And so I have it on cycles and I can see it all right there in that Investor Hub system, which is great. So like, for example, I just sent out mail to Justin and his team today, and that was my week 7. So week 8 is going to be actually my week 1. And it'll automatically, for the most part, be sent out. So I'll have that system set up, and that's where that consistency is going to come into play and help out in the long run. Because if you're doing direct mail, you better send out a decent amount to generate some leads.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, the battery's back. It was a dead battery in the camera. We swapped that. Okay. So keep going, guys.
Oh, I was just saying about it was consistency. It was for me. You asked me the question about what's helped me.
Yeah.
Consistency, and this Investor Hub platform is, I mean, I did a nice review for Justin, but man, it is really, I can't imagine if you're someone who sends out a lot of direct mail and you don't have this system. I'm a solopreneur.
Meaning you wear all the hats. I mean, you have a virtual assistant,
right?
But that's not taking a ton of load off you. You're doing the bulk of it. Has automation in general, and then even OLM Investor Hub. I mean, does that help gain traction instantly, or what has been the experience on it?
Yeah, I mean, it gives me a visual of all every single lead. Like I never have to go back to a spreadsheet again, which is happening to me because I can't stand spreadsheets. But
yeah,
once I upload it, it's all in the system, so I can see if it's what's called a super lead. I don't know if you guys have touched on that. A super lead, right? So meaning they're tax delinquent, they may have code violations, it may be a vacant house. So all that gets aggregated. And two, in this system too, what's awesome is they run through the USPS for vacancies and also absentees. So it'll add those. So if you're uploading a list of, say, code violations, well,
yeah.
if it's an absentee, obviously it'll automatically mark it as an absentee. So it gives it another mark. So obviously the more marks you have, right, the more list types. So if you have 4 or 5, I mean, those are going to be much more highly motivated, leads if they have multiple issues, obviously. Super lead.
I love that it
part of it.
Yeah, I love that it helps you know where to focus your time. I mean, we talked about this at the Scale event when you were here. When was that? Was that January? January. Like this year, by the way, is going like crazy. I don't know where it's going, but ultimately we just talked about that. How do we get more efficient? Everyone's asking, like, during the day, what do I do? How do I get more efficient? Mm-hmm. These are one of those things that just help you be more efficient. If you knew that you had leads that are what we call like super leads or a stacked lead, where they're on multiple lists, but you don't have to figure that on your own, but that you have software that tells you, hey, these 55 leads, they're worth all of your time today to go do that. And any kind of spare time you have, work them right here. Let these other leads go through some marketing channel, maybe some even lower cost marketing channels to get them warmed up and get them over to work with. But for right now, these 55 leads specifically are like leads that you spend every waking minute on. And are you in it right now, kind of showing that?
Yeah, I'm in it right now. So I just, for a particular town, where are my high quality leads in this town of Andover? I have 62 leads right here. So here are all the leads that are high quality in this specific town that I can tackle, call, cold call, send RVMs, text messages. Yep.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And have you been using that already on the leads that you have, Brian?
Yes, I've sent them off. So part of one of my marketing batches that I've sent off have been the super leads.
Uh-huh.
And I think that they had 2 or 3 more list counts. They got a postcard from me.
That's
so
awesome.
They will actually take them and send them off that way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So in general, what does automation, what does a process, what does that allow? Have you already seen a difference? Like, this is where I want, like, rubber meets the road, right? I mean, has it ultimately given you more time back instantly? Or is this something that you can see like, no, it's going to still take a little bit, but once, yes, X amount is in place, I'm going to have more time back? Or like, how fast was the payoff with getting more time to do what you need to do with automation?
Oh, like I said earlier, like, dude, if you hate spreadsheets, I can't stand spreadsheets. Like, I don't have to ever go into a spreadsheet again. Like that to me is like a no-brainer. So I can't imagine if you're like a marketing nerd and you're dealing with all these spreadsheets. Like if you have a business that has a marketing person, like I can't imagine they wouldn't recommend this service, right? So yeah. I don't have to mess with spreadsheets anymore. The cool thing is, like, for me, so I'm on my 7th week of sending out marketing campaigns. This is one of the things I really, really like about the system. So let's say in week 1, I sent off a certain amount.
Yeah.
Each week you go by and you add. So I don't want to send a postcard to that person I sent in week 1. So you have filters. The filters is phenomenal. So doesn't contain as a filter my previous marketing batch. So it doesn't resend them a postcard within those first 8-week cycles, right? So I'm not sending out multiple postcards, to the same person within 2 or 3, 4 week time frame.
Right.
And that's why it's saving money. And I know I'm actually hitting more efficient leads than going back and resubmitting them. It's one of those things you'd almost have to, put it on a screen share to kind of see, but the filters.
There we go.
When it comes to the direct mail, because it doesn't allow you to send out actually those leads that you've already sent out the previous weeks.
How long have you been using OLM software?
I'd say that's probably the 7th or 8th week, I guess.
So you're into it 2 months, two months and a week, let's say.
Right.
Okay, so tell me this. Is it something I always like to look at in my own business? I always know like if something's good or if something's bad. So you have to look at it both sides. Is the results I'm seeing today are not from things that I'm doing today. In fact, it's never even the things I'm seeing today are results from a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Typically, it goes back like 60, 90 days. I can directly tie something. For example, I was in Indiana. I thought I'd get smart and be like, hey, I'm doing a lot of deals here in Utah. Let's see if I can do it in Indiana. The first day we got like a deal, 2 homes for like $3,000. I'm like, oh my gosh, we just hit a jackpot. I don't think anyone wanted it for more than $3,100 for both homes. Like you can't even buy a trailer in Utah for $3,000. You can buy 2 homes in Indiana for $3,000. And I was just like, I'm floored, but no one wanted it. And we started spending this money and time in Indiana and we lost a lot of traction in Utah. And then like 3 months later, Utah's numbers are like dipping deep and quick. And if you look at like what's going on today, it'd be like, oh no, like we're doing this. But it was directly tied to 60, 90 days prior when we opened up the market in Indiana. We're now feeling the results of that. And so let's talk about how you're in it 2 months now. Do you feel like any of the things you're doing over the last 2 months has led any new changes, any of the software updates, any automation? Do you feel like that has any help in what was your biggest month ever in wholesaling? Or do you feel like, no, it's even get better? Like, yes, it's helped, but the best is to come. Like, what does that look like in reality?
Yeah, no, it's helped me stay organized for sure. Right. And so like next week, I don't even have to think about what's being sent out. It's already set up in my 8-week cycle or whatever that I have. All I have to do is go there and click it and hit, Well, the other cool thing is you can actually do your direct mail out of the system too, which before I was doing spreadsheets and submitting off to another postcard. That's another huge thing. So yeah, it's a huge time saver for sure. And you can see the leads. And the other thing is I'm about ready to switch to, I haven't set up the Deal Hub yet. So I talked to Corey about that, by the way, Justin, and we're going to get probably set up next week, but then I can see kind of how it all works together.
Yeah.
It's
awesome.
The efficiency is crazy. Like I said, if you're someone who likes organization and keeping things together, like you would love this system.
Even if you don't love being organized, like this will help you be organized, which will help.
Right.
Yeah.
Organized. It would help you get organized. Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the big thing too that you said that I want to make sure that is you're now consistent, right? Like when you're a solopreneur, I know when I started, I was inefficient, not because I wanted to be, but because I got a deal and now my focus went to that deal, and I'd forget to update the undeliverables, update people that want to be removed from my list and all that stuff before I start to send more marketing again. But this system truly allows you to spend very little time to do those things and automate the marketing execution so easily. Because in my eyes, like talking to thousands of investors through open letter marketing around the country, consistency is the number one most important thing.
True.
That's how you're going to get deals. Be consistent. That's huge. And this really allows you to do that very easily.
Yeah, I think that's cool. And I don't know if a whole lot of people know, but obviously, you started off as an investor, right? So you've gone through a lot of these pains. You developed this system because of those pains and those challenges, which is like a no-brainer, right? When it comes to, you already know what's going on when you send out direct mail.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's not to knock on any third-party mailer by all means. Like we've seen results from third-party mailers. I just love that you're just turning the dials, right? It's not, we talk about like when you see businesses that are succeeding at a high level, it's not any one big thing that they're doing that makes these massive results. It's the small and consistent things. And Darren Hardy talks about how you're just willing to do the small and simple things consistently that no one else is willing to do. And these little, you just stack wins. Like it's OLM. It's not that it's like, hey, all you other third-party mailers that have never been an investor, they're just awful. It's not that. It's just, you're turning the dial. It's these little shifts. The fact that Justin, you are an investor, has helped give more clarity on how to deliver the direct mail and what pieces are responding to. You know the language of a motivated seller. You know the language of an investor. And so there's no like guesswork. You're in the trenches. So that's what I've loved about it. I love that I'm like every year, every day, every month, like I'm just finding little ways to just turn the dial to get 1% better. And I felt like that was a huge shift when we switched over. It's like I turned the dial. I was a 1% better.
Yeah. This stuff, I love that stuff. I mean, real estate is kind of, I mean, that's my passion. That's what I love. And to figure out not only in my investment business how to gain a competitive advantage, but also show my customers how to gain a competitive advantage in their own area by doing the things that I've already tried and tested and found that work really well, or reduces your time, significantly in what you're doing so you can be consistent. That's all stuff that I just love and always try to figure out better ways to do it and deliver that to the people that are using the system.
Phenomenal. So, gentlemen, in kind of closing, I know this is a shorter lunch and learn than normal, but I feel like it's just enough to get people inspired and people to get out of their own way. And most times we'll find out our next breakthrough, our next level to get somewhere better is just simply getting out of our own way. And whether that's delegation through team members or delegation through automation, it's making sure that you get out of your own way. When Brian got out of his own way, he's able to get to the next level. I love your story. I love the fact that, Brian, that now is it a full month since you left W-2 job?
Yeah, over a full month. Yeah.
Over a full month now, guys. And
that's awesome.
I've seen this from the beginning, and it's been so cool to watch. And I know there's real life fears. I know there's real life, like, when's the good time? I don't know if there's ever a right time, but at some point it just finally clicked in and you did it. And here you are. I think it's so great that it wasn't like a step back to move 10 steps forward. It was like instantly you shot up. And so you're an inspiration, brother. I know there's many people looking at you saying, gosh, I wish I had some courage like Brian to be able to jump out of W-2. So I think your story is going to inspire a lot of people today.
Yeah, awesome, man. The other thing, hey, I want to say real quick when closing, I can't say enough good thing. And I listen, when I get on something, I truly believe in the system. I'm not just on here to be on here, right? Like their customer service is unreal. Like I've been dealing with Corey. So anytime I have a challenge or issue with inside the system, phenomenal. He gets me, he calls me. We do sometimes Zoom calls. Hey, what's going on here? And they've really helped me to do that. Justin's been, awesome. And again, I'm not saying that because I'm on here. Like I'm saying it because I'm using the system and I see how powerful it is and how it's going to be, how it just makes things so much easier to help me to be consistent and allows me to see the data that it is most important that I can go after and try to find motivated sellers. Right. So, the system is awesome. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, hit me up on Facebook or shoot me a message. I'm happy to spend some time. If we need to run through, I can show you some, my dashboard and show you a couple key things that I'm using that I think are awesome. That could help you.
That's fantastic.
I can help out.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Hey, here's one thing that came in, Justin. Is the system only for direct mail, or can you use text call from the system? And I think what we're talking about is two different systems. Yes, Investor Hub. Correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, you do it. This is your system.
Yeah. So. Good question. I think they're talking about so on Deal Flow, you can send,
the CRM guys, the customer relationship management. So CRM is Deal Flow.
So Deal Flow, you can do text, email, ringless voicemail, all of that stuff. On Investor Hub, currently you can only execute direct mail. However,
Wait a second.
We've been working on development for executing RVM and text message. RVM will probably be coming out first, then text message. And not only that, we're working with another company and talking to them about cold calling right inside of the
That's
system. So you can execute almost everything out of here.
One-stop shop,
crazy.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll be cool.
crazy.
Brian, maybe let's find out, but it says, Brian, name of software. I think you're talking about Investor Hub, about what you've been talking about, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's,
OLM Investor Hub. That's Justin's business.
yeah, it's this one right here.
Guys, it's right here. Depending where you're from, if you're on Facebook, it's just up above. You'll see a link that you can learn more about that. That sends you right to this portal that you see on the page. If you're in YouTube, gosh, I don't remember all the things. It's like normally now when I do video, I'm like, wherever that button is, just click it now. I don't know where you're at on YouTube, but essentially it's openlettermarketing.com/REFF. And that just ties you into this portal so that you can get the best pricing out there to use this automation, use these softwares so that you can have more time back. And I said this last time, Justin and Brian, you might have watched, maybe not. It's uniquely in common when I talk to people when they're at the beginning stages. You guys know me. I coach real estate. I coach people how to wholesale homes. And when I get on the phone with individuals, one of the biggest pulls to real estate that they're like, hey, I love this. This is why I want to get into real estate. The number one answer I get why they want to get into real estate is they want more time, whether that's time freedom, whether that is financial freedom, whether that is more time with their kids. I know I've coached a bunch of truck drivers for whatever reason, and they're like, I hate being gone on the road and I'm not with my kids, and they get this time back. And then it's easy. And Brian, you can probably attest to this. In fact, Justin, you can attest to this. It's easy to get in real estate and forget about the main reason why you got into real estate and get absorbed into the business. Mm-hmm. And now, yes, it's a higher paying job than maybe your W-2 job, but you didn't really gain time. You just put more time into it because it's like, oh man, it's paying well, so I'm just going to keep putting more time into it. And you forget the whole reason why you wanted to get into real estate. And I love that automation brings us back to square one. It's like, why did I get into real estate? Well, it's because I wanted more time. You guys can see, let's see, maybe you can't. Back here is the 7 dwarfs walking on a log up here. We've got Walt and Mickey right here on my desk. I love going to Disneyland. Like, I love it. We have season passes. Doesn't do us much good right now, but I love getting out with the family. And that's why I'm in real estate. And that's why I love systems like yours. I'm not smart enough to develop it. So I'm grateful for people like you, Justin, that do, so that I can just R&D, not research and develop, but rip off and duplicate everything he made so I can just make my business better. So I'm appreciative of you, Justin, for putting this together.
Absolutely, man. You too. Appreciative of you.
Guys, any other questions throughout the day that you have, feel free to chime in, and maybe all three of us, if there's questions towards me, I'll answer, question towards Justin, and even towards Brian. I'm sure we're all here to try and help you guys figure out how to just add value to you guys' life to help you get better and get out of your own way and keep doing more deals consistently. But I want to thank you guys all for joining the Lunch and Learn. Brian, thank you so much. I know you're busy. I know this is not something that's like just easy to break away during this time. You could have been talking to 20, 30, 40 different sellers today. You could have been following up. You could have been doing whatever you could have been doing right now. But thank you, because this is going to inspire a lot of people. So I appreciate you, and Justin the same.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you too, Brian. Appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words.
Okay, gentlemen, take care. You guys go out there, take massive imperfect action, and automate before you scale the team. Brian's doing this correctly. He didn't bring on the team. He brought in the process. He brought in the automation, and then soon you'll see Brian bringing in the team, and that boy is going to be growing up to 6 figures every month. Get ready. I can already call it out for you, my man. Okay, take care, guys. See you later.
Later, guys.